Don't be cursing and shit. All right, here we are with another live episode of Hunters Hangouts. This is Season 3, Episode 16. And we have one more. Yikes. Right, we got one more to go. We hope you guys enjoyed the season. We have some amazing hunters. I've been going through their picks. They're amazing. So you guys are you got a treat today. We got some prizes to give away. We have a year subscription of Horton-Pirates.
You're finally getting through that and saying it correctly and not giggling. So this is pretty good.
Okay, let me do that over. I don't want to disappoint you.
He said
subscription of Horton-Pirates.
There you go.
Woo! Right. I mean, it's an awesome magazine. And we have 1 gallon of Froggy's Fog.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Who can't use a gallon of Froggies?
Hey, you know they banned me from using the tools.
I was slow on the claps there, sorry.
I know you was. We have 3 downloads from Sam Haines' Incredible Dark Carnival, which is
Yeah, and I just saw where somebody had posted earlier this week asking, where can I get some carnival, like dark carnival music? So there you go. It's perfect.
right. That's right. And all you gotta do is comment, and you have a good chance to win. That's it. But we got one more show left, and we are done for the season. We have our season finale next Thursday. Don't miss it. And then we'll see you next February. So it's the last one, so you better be there. And we're gonna turn it over to Madman Jim, and he's gonna spin the spin doctor over here.
What?
I don't know. I was going somewhere with it.
It was the worst DJ pass off ever.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
That's right.
Oh, my
We're gonna spin the vinyl.
Dude, I am so in between beers, so the buzz is like halfway there.
I thought Jim
and the
had
night
fumes.
is so young. I'm afraid of how this is going to go.
See, Jay Wall opened his window and the fumes are hitting Jose.
There you go.
I'll be right. Let me finish this beer. I'll be ready.
Well, I guess since it's been brought out, speaking of fumes, of course, Jose said we'll see you next Thursday for our season finale, and then we won't be back until February. But unless you're headed to MHC, we will certainly see you there. We do have a booth there, but if you see us out and about or you're there, do not hesitate to come up and introduce yourself and say hello. Just like anything else, we see the names that are posted on either Facebook or YouTube, and it's fantastic to finally get a face to those names and meet everybody in person. So come hang out. We'll be at booth 635, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a blast as usual. But with that said, with the fumes,
hey, just when you come to the booth, you'll bring a bottle.
yes, there you go.
Throw it up.
But we do have a raffle for the booth. We've got a ton of prizes that are being donated by all kinds of vendors. I'll put out a list here shortly. But besides that, we did this at Transworld. It was a lot of fun. I think everybody enjoyed it. The one thing that was missing was at least a personal giveaway. So Brad, Jose, and myself have each made something that we're going to give away. So this happens to be mine. I finally got it done last night, and it's sealed, but the fumes are kicking. So if I fall out of this chair, not because of the beer, it's because of that guy.
That is like an LED in there, right? It's not a candle. Right?
Well, no, it's not a candle, but... Hey, if anybody sees anything, holler. That's all I gotta say.
And if anyone's tuning in for the first time tonight, don't worry about the fumes with Jim's voice. That's his natural accent.
Yeah, in my mind,
the Canadian.
like a chewy.
That drawl
thank you
is
for
not
resonating.
speech impairment. It's just southernness.
Wait a minute, the Canadians talking about accents?
I know.
Oh.
Real rich, right? Well, speaking of that, of course we've got our host tonight. Jose Diablo85, myself, Jay Wall, a.k.a. Jim, or that should be the other way around. And also joining us tonight.
They're hitting them already.
Also joining us tonight is helping us out. And thank goodness, because she's gonna have her hands full with just myself and Jose keeping us in line, let alone the guests. We've got Jamie Huggins. Hey Jamie, how are you? And as always, we do have our resident Canadian. We've got Be Good Brad Goodspeed in the house.
Controlling my own sound effects.
Yeah, there you go. Brad will be monitoring Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. If you do have any questions, please post those on there. It is easier if you start your comment with the word question so that he can decipher those between chats. So, as always, feel free to join in the conversation, talk amongst yourself as well, and have a good time. And again, with that said, the whole reason we're here is this lineup of guests. We've got a great lineup of guests this evening. This is awesome. Matter of fact, I think as we've tried to do all season long is introduce a lot of new people and a lot of fresh faces. If I recall, looking down through the guest lineup, I think we've really only got one return guest this evening. Everybody else is going to be some new faces. So that's pretty exciting. Although, not to, Jim and Don, you're returning, not to, that's okay. Not to put you down because you're returning. You're still
Maybe
a great
this
face
time
to look
we'll
at.
get it right.
So, hey, we might as well start. We've got Jim and Don joining us from Canyon Trail Cemetery. Guys, if you could say hello, tell us where you're from.
We're Canyon Trail Cemetery, located in the western suburbs of Chicago. There are no eastern suburbs. That's the lake.
All right. Well, we'll forgive you for Chicago then.
It's actually Carroll Stream is the town. Started building in really 2006.
Jim, hold that thought. I've got to make sure that everybody else knows what the other guests are here for. So hold that thought. We'll come back to you and get your details.
Hey, Jim just let him go at it last time. It was like, we didn't even introduce nobody.
I know, Jim's like, he's so ready. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to talk. I'm going to do this right. I'm going right for it now. Hey, but also joining us tonight, we've got Chip Wells from Total Terror Haunted Attraction. Hello, Chip.
Hey, Haunters, how's it going?
Hey, we're doing great. You?
Very good, man.
And if you could tell everybody where are you coming from?
Yeah, from Total Terror Haunted Attraction outside of Richmond, Virginia, down here in the glorious South.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, we've got Chicago and Virginia in the house. Very good. Well, also joining us this evening, we've got David Horton. Hey, David, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Hey, I just gotta thank you for not starting off by saying "Arrgh." I'm doing wonderful.
I think you should start off by doing the "Arrgh." I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed.
We named our. I have to interrupt for a second because we named our son Anthony Renzo Gustinella, so his initials are ARG. Like we purposely found the name to be ARG.
All right, Brad.
Well, then you should probably be into David's hunt because David's the Pirates of Northcourt. Dave, if you tell us where you're coming from.
We're in Cecil County, Maryland. That's where we're at.
Nice. Man, we're all over the place. This is great tonight. Love it. Brad's head's gonna explode with all these accents. Like nobody speaks proper English.
Y'all sound American to me.
Also joining us tonight, we have Ron and Lori, and I'm not even going to attempt your last name, from Restless Hollow.
Hey, it's Gustinella.
Gustinella.
I've heard it a few times now, and I'm like, there's no way at this point.
Oh yeah, at school, I'm always like as a teacher, I'm always Miss G. Like the Gustinella is dropped every year, every school.
You're just Miss G.
Miss G all the time. And we're in Austin, Texas, South Austin.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Jose, I know. I'm sorry. You got 2 strikes against you, and we really pulled to have you on tonight, despite what Jose said. A, you're from Texas, and B, you're a haunt couple. There's a 3rd strike. We'll see if you hit that tonight as we talk. If so, Jose, if you just disappear, we know that it's all Jose's fault. He just late.
If the screen goes black, we'll know what's up. So, all right.
That's right. It's all Jose's fault.
To be fair, we've only been in Austin 4 years.
Yeah.
We were from.
Oh, now they're trying to save themselves.
we were in North Carolina, New Mexico, Arizona, California.
So did you move to Texas to be part of the haunting elite? Is that why you did that?
Exactly.
We did. We were like researching.
Oh, Brad, look at Brad. Yeah, I see that grin.
Well, thank you all for joining us this evening. I think this is going to be a good night. We've got a pretty diversified crowd here, so this is going to be a lot of fun. So, I guess just to jump into things, and I'm going to do this intentional now since Jim tried to jump in and go ahead and just go for it. I'm going to start with Chip.
I was like, no, you're not.
All right.
You're not taking over the show.
Jim, it's nothing against you, but I know what Jose has queued up, and if I did start with you, Jose would go into a panic attack trying to look for the pictures and change his line.
Well, it's because they give me a certain. They're like, it's numbered for you. It's numbered, and it's. And if I don't do that, then they jump.
Well, Chip, hey, thanks for joining us tonight. If you could just give a little bit of background on yourself and how you got started.
Sure, man. Yeah. I got started haunting in 2003. We threw like a big Halloween party in our neighborhood and had like 150 people, and we built a few props, some tombstones, and we just kept going from there and getting bigger in our home haunt until at some point we just didn't have any more kids coming. It was like, well, either we just back it all away or we make a haunt, make a pro haunt. So I think 2011 we started Pro Haunt Total Terror, and it started in our backyard, and it was so big we had to kind of move out into a local town, and we took over a public park and partnered up with the city, and we've just been going strong since, man. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right,
that was a hell of a way to do it. I'm gonna have a party, and then by the way, we'll just do.
We're going pro.
Yeah, exactly. We got the stuff. We might as well keep going.
Right.
Here's some of the masks that we see you make. That's like everybody's like, what's the recipe for that?
Yeah, man. It's we try to make all our own masks and all our own props. It's still a haunt, home haunt mentality at Total Terror, and that's the fun part for me anyway. Making all this stuff. So, I started out making a lot of paper mache stuff. Big fan of Stalloween. But man, I'm about as impatient as it gets. I'm like, now. That's not good for a paper mache artist. It really, it doesn't. When's this thing gonna frickin' dry, man? So I started doing some research, and there's a method that these guys in New Orleans had been using for years that make these Mardi Gras, floats, right? And they make these giant, props and things for these floats, and they're amazing. And I just happened to be looking at them, researching. I was like, wait a minute, they're doing something different here I've never seen before. And so researching, precious little on this method. It's called Barth Mache, or contact adhesive method, or in New Orleans they call it sticky paper. And what you do is take craft paper or corrugated paper, which is kind of like in between cardboard and paper, or cardboard, and you start coating it up with this kind of special glue that they use, and you start sticking things together. That's the best way to describe it. And molding and it all sticks together, so you can start. The whole paper becomes the armature.
Can we
So
get
you've
that
got
glue here, do you think, or is that just something strictly in New Orleans?
Say that again. Well, that's now that's strictly a New Orleans thing or a Mobile, Alabama thing where Mardi Gras is so big, but that is not used much outside of that. Maybe some puppeteers might know that method and use it, but that's mostly a New Orleans thing.
What about the glue, though?
I was talking about the glue. Can you
The
get
glue?
that glue anywhere?
Yeah, man, you can get that glue. You can go to a couple of stores like Home Depot or Lowe's, and they'll have a little can of Weldwood non-flammable contact adhesive, which is not too much, like $60 for a quart.
Yeah.
And or you can go kind of the expensive route and use for more professional results. It's a 3M product, number 30NF, and if anybody's interested, they can go to my YouTube channel, Total Terror Haunted Attraction. I kind of spell it all out, and a couple of videos there. You can see it, and and that's a little more expensive. You're talking like $100 for a gallon, so that might. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, there's a great picture too.
That is awesome. So that's also using this method?
Yep. So that's using that method. Kind of getting away from the traditional paper mache armature. You've got, chicken wire and lumber and things like that, which get heavy. That's all cardboard, man. That's just cardboard built up in kind of layers, and
That's cool.
It's a real intuitive process, man, because you're not taking away, you're adding to, and that's why I kind of like it. You know what I mean? So you're sticking stuff together and building it out, and it's I don't know, man. Sometimes you'll get started on a piece and it'll just become something right as you're working. You may not even know what you're working towards. So it's kind of cool like that.
So are you and I've watched the videos, and I'm asking these questions just because I'm trying to help get even more clarification. But you're just painting that on the contact cement onto the surface, on both surfaces, and just sticking it on. Like you said, they call it sticky paper for a reason, because it just keeps, and you just pile it on until you've built it to a form that you like.
Yeah, that's right, man. You just keep building it up there, and the great thing about this is if you say you ball up some of that paper that's got the glue on there, craft paper, you get it anywhere, Staples or Michaels or whatever, and you start building things up. You make some horns or something, you stick that together, man. You don't have to use wire or anything. That's the armature. It's stuck together. You've got horns sticking out everywhere, and it's fast, man. Okay, so I think that's, for me, the best part. Is like, boom, you can churn out a lot of work using this method. So it's anyway.
Right. So when after you take the corrugated cardboard and you cardboard it all up, do you actually shape it with like just brown paper? Is that how you get the smooth shaping, or is that still the cardboard that you use?
Well, that's, so let's take that pumpkin again. Now that's you kind of do a layer of thicker stuff and build it up, and then maybe your last layer you put some paper on there so it smooths it out a little bit, and from there you can do a couple of things. You can use a traditional paper mache covering of some sort that kind of smooths out the skin. That pumpkin is covered in monster mud and cheesecloth, but it needs something that you can paint on because that glue won't take paint. So the
cardboard will actually hold monster mud?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's heavy. I know that.
So you did all of this done in like one day now, or is this still like a multiple day project?
Oh, that's a multiple day project. I wish I could get stuff done in a day. It seems like it takes forever. Like all these projects, it's like got so much to do. I'm sitting here waiting on this stuff. So, but the actual building of the armature, goes pretty quick. You could do that in a day or two. So. All right, you've got a clown picture right there. Then that's actually paper mache with fiberglass over it. So that's a fiberglass project, and that's so that was one of my first big paper mache projects I did. And I was like, well, we gotta, we kept losing stuff out in the woods.
Yeah. That's why he moved on. He's like, takes too long.
Yeah, man. Right on. Right. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, and you got to protect this stuff. You know, if you're into paper mache and you want to use it and go out in the woods and have a haunted trail, man, you're gonna lose some stuff. So you kind of gotta, you know, double, triple think about how you're gonna waterproof the stuff and make it last and everything. 'Cause you worked hard, you know, to make everything. So, but yeah, if you like fiberglass, I mean, that's the way to go. But it's a real pain in the butt, personally. You know, getting high on fiberglass fumes and picking stuff out of your fingers. You know, but.
Marine Prez asked, I think you mentioned it, but you have video tutorials for your mache process?
Yeah, there's you go to YouTube, Total Terror, Haunted Attraction. There's a couple of tutorials there. Yeah, there's one on making Barth mache masks, how to make that pumpkin we showed there, and I've also got one on a process, I call it Monster Mache. It's no more than adding that green fiber insulations, ground up newspaper to monster mud, and you can sculpt with that. It's like clay. It's becomes like a clay substance, and that also will dry like, you know, maybe a third of the time of, say, using what's the stuff, the toilet paper. Help me out there. You know, the paper clay.
Yeah, the paper clay.
Yeah, man. So I'm always experimenting, trying to, you know, do something faster, better, stronger, you know, and so I think I'll probably have another tutorial coming up. We've got Virginia Haunt Fest is coming up in a few weeks, and I'm teaching a class there, and I'm probably going to record that and put it up on YouTube so I can see how we make some of these masks and such. You know, just keep the haunt love going, you know.
Keep it moving. Now, if anybody wants to see anybody's stuff, all their websites and their YouTubes, everything is in the description of the intro and of this live cast. So just so you know.
Yeah, you can go right back and click on it and go straight to their Facebook or their YouTube page. So they make it really convenient.
Right on.
Well, Chip, we'll go ahead and get we'll go on down the line and get some other information from some of these other guys, and we'll be back to you and we'll dive in a little bit deeper.
All right, sounds good.
No problem. Jump in anytime.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to put off Jim too much longer, because if we do, he may clam up altogether. And I know he's ready to do this right.
We need to get him while he's hot. You know what I'm saying?
I know. If not, we'll just have Don slap him every now and then.
Yeah, no, we don't really have anything. No.
Yeah, you don't do anything. That's right. And that Pumpkin King was nothing. You're right. No big deal, right?
Yeah. No, that was nothing. Yeah, so we started in 2006. Started a flying crank ghost. It was, I don't know. We always decorated, you know, the wood cutouts, leaf bags, pumpkin pails. 2006, like it was late August, early September. You know, we're surfing through the web, and we come across the flying crank ghost and a couple other things, and we're like, well, this would be cool. So we put it up, and thinking that we were, like, you know, going all out. This was, I mean, we were doing more than anyone. I mean, this was insane.
This is
it. We had 3 things out there, and it just snowballed. But from there, I think we're mostly known for pneumatics now. We have
my favorite.
Yeah, so we have about 3 dozen pneumatics out there, and spread across the whole yard. It really is, you know, we really are a haunting couple. We both do it.
I went there, Jose.
No, I think
Couple haunts together stays together.
I do think we have the Holy Trinity together to get kicked off the show. I mean, it is something that we do together. You know, our 25th anniversary was a couple years ago. We actually spent the whole day out setting up the yard and actually never made it out to dinner. You know, for few years ago, for it was birthday or Father's Day, Dawn gave me the Webcaster, the little tiny glue gun web maker for birthday or Father's Day. She liked it so much that for our anniversary, I got her the big model.
Nice.
That was a hit. That was a hit, man.
So,
That's fun. That thing is a blast.
yeah,
Right.
we set up. We don't have a haunt. We just have what I think is a decent size display. We set up the end of September. It's up the whole month. We have several thousand people stop and walk the yard. Halloween Day is insane. It's about 3,000 people.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That's a lot.
With about 1,000 trick-or-treaters. There's bus loads, car loads of people. A lot of them just adults, where there's no kids with, come and get out and everything. But like I say, it is a lot of pneumatics.
Do you have to close your street with that many people?
The street itself stays open. Our town is unusual. It's almost all cul-de-sacs, and we're on a corner of a cul-de-sac. And our street is one of the few streets in which all the cul-de-sacs dump into. Yeah. So the street has to stay open, but we set up cones along our house and then a couple houses down each way.
That's good.
Just to help with traffic.
I'm going to assume that you've been pretty well received by your neighbors and the people at in the cul-de-sac then?
We're very, very lucky. Our neighbors are extremely supportive. They really enjoy the display that we put on. And we had one neighbor even offer some of his yard so we could spill out into his yard.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and
hey, guys, Jose, real quick, if you could pull up the previous picture.
Oh, now you're messing me up.
While he's doing that, we have a question for Gina Doctor for you guys. How much square footage do you fill up? You have a lot of props.
Well, we're on a corner house, so the front of our house is about 125, 130 feet long, and then the side is, I don't know, 40 or 50 feet. But we don't have a deep yard. It's shallow, but it's long. So I couldn't begin to guess.
And we pack it full of stuff.
Right. In fact, this year we're going up to the roof.
So between your turn and when we come back to you, maybe you could go out with a measuring tape.
Yeah, I'll have that ready.
We don't want to leave Gina Doctor without an answer.
No. Hey, Jim and Don, one thing I noticed in this picture, and that's why I wanted Jose to come back to it, maybe you could talk about it, is you've got a lot of stuff going on here in this coffin. You know, we see what looks like maybe comment cards and some other informational stuff. Could you explain what you've got going on there?
Yeah, so it really is an information center on us as well as a donation center. So several years ago, we had some pizzas anonymously delivered to us. We started having people want to contribute. It's great that they want to do it. We're lucky and fortunate to be able to do this. It's something that we enjoy, and it's great that people want to contribute, but quite frankly, it's never going to come close to covering the cost. So
we know that feeling.
So what we started doing is we started collecting non-perishable food for the local food pantry. First day with the members, and then we collect. If someone has cash, we rescue animals. So we had rescued a couple Dalmatians. So we've accepted cash donations for the Dalmatian rescue. So the coffin, there's two, one on each side of the drive. They're a place for people to donate the food, the money. There's secure locations for the money. We're part of Chicago Haunt Builders, which is a make-and-take group here, a fantastic group here in Chicago. So we'll put together a list of the haunts in the Chicago area for the members. We list our FAQs out there, comment cards, and then we also put a list of houses decorated in the village. So it's really kind of an information center for us.
Right. You guys are pretty heavy into pneumatics too, right?
Yeah, we got about 3 dozen pneumatics.
Your group is.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a number of us who are pretty big into pneumatics. That's how I got started into it.
I love this picture here. This is just awesome.
Yeah, that's our spider infestation, so there's a lot of stuff going there. Yeah. The spiders drop down. There's little tiny spiders that drop down from the trees. There's a big spider that comes down. We have a spider in a crate that comes out, leaps out. That's not in this picture. There's the spider egg sacs that triggered. Those are motorized. They'll start lighting up and moving when triggered.
Yeah, they wiggle. It's really cool.
The sacs do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can see those little spiders. They drop down. Yeah. There's a spider victim out of the shot here. He'll go off. So there's just a ton of stuff.
And then we have the little creepy girl singing "Itsy Bitsy Spider" in the background, which just
fun.
Right. And as you can see,
looking at that picture, all I can think is it's a good thing that you guys got each other a webcaster for.
Right. And like we said, you can go to their YouTube channel and it's all, and everything they're talking about is there. So.
So people walk all through your yard, like you have like a little path where they go, or do they stay like on your sidewalk?
No, it stayed on the sidewalk. Oh, well, on the front there's sidewalk. On the side we set the fence in a few feet, and they just walk on the grass there. Like I said, it's not a haunt. It's just a very, very big display. A lot of stuff going on. And of course with the pneumatics, it's scaring people. You'll be just sitting and hearing people scream all night. So
it's great.
Cool. Oh, that's
awesome. And it's actually a quote in a newspaper is, she enjoys making the little kids cry. So.
But Dawn's so sweet. Look at her.
If I'm out there and I see some little kid crying, I come in and tell her, "Hey, good job." It's stigmatized another person.
Turn down. You guys are my kind of people.
Right.
Yeah, I see him running in like high-fiving, like, yeah, another one's crying.
Another one, yeah.
I remember the first time we met you, and I was like probably one of your biggest fans because when I looked at your page, it's like you have so many pneumatics in your haunt, and that's like the thing that's always gotten me is like, and it's like, oh man, Jim, you see Jim's stuff, it's like, it's, and then we saw you at MAC, like. I told Jim, I was like, holy shit, man, it's Jim Snyder, right there. Right? And then we're like, what's up, Jim, this night? And then Dawn's like, what, you think he's a celebrity or something? I was like, just so deep, I was like, dang.
Yeah, but little did we know at that time, she's thinking, I'm the one that make the kids cry. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, thanks,
pneumatics
guys,
are my crack.
Yeah, there you go. We'll go ahead and let's get some information on some of our other guests, and Jim and Dawn, feel free to join in on the discussion as well. We'll go ahead and jump over here to our pirate buddy, David Horton.
Hey.
Hey, Dave. How's it going tonight?
Going good. Going good.
We got to get him going. We got to get him charged up. Burn.
Arr.
David's joining us. He doesn't have his partner in crime, except for he does have Jack with him this evening, so this should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started in 2007 kind of by accident. It was a week before Halloween. We had a friend over, our neighbor. We were talking about we have 400 houses in the community and nobody decorates for Halloween. So
Whoa.
I said, hell, I can do something. I got a week, I'll figure it out. So I looked up some stuff. I did a quick little cemetery, did some pillars, did a fence, carved some tombstones, put it out there, and I went,
Wow.
damn, I
In a
did
week?
something in a week.
In a week.
In a week.
Wow. That's amazing.
Said, this is great. I said, I put it out there, got a lot of great comments. Everybody said, oh man, I'm glad you did this. And I said, you wait till next year. That's when I started doing the Pirates. So in 2008 is when I did the shipwreck. I started the first one. Another plan, figured I'll give myself a month. So I started doing everything a month before. And I still only set it up the day before Halloween. So we'd have,
Lord.
yeah. So I'd set it up. The first time we got maybe 200 people. The next year with the Pirates, we got 250. I said, I got to break at least 300. The most we got was almost 400 people in 2 hours. Because that's all trick-or-treating is allowed in our neighborhood is 2 hours.
Man.
That's a lot of people.
What a bummer.
That's a lot of work and a lot of time and then 2 hours.
Yeah, they only give you 2 hours?
Yeah.
Whew.
Yes.
Please tell me that it's
town
not
world
from like
set up.
6 to 8 when it's not even dark yet. Tell me at least get like 7 to 9.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no, it's 6 to 8. So
Ah.
half of it is still out in the sunlight.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So they don't even get a real true sense of it. At least the trick-or-treaters don't. Do they come back and start lingering around, though, after hours to come back and check everything out for a while? Or is it somebody shooing them away?
Do.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right, that's good. Shit. I was like,
They're allowed to come back. This last year, I actually set it up 3 weeks before Halloween.
Oh, there you go.
So I actually had some time, and we had maybe 150 people come through watching me put everything up this year. So
really?
This one I actually got to enjoy a little bit more than all the other ones that was set up a week before.
Well, your lighting is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, there's
That's what we noticed.
one of... Thank you. This is the first time I actually figured out how to take my photos.
Well, so what kind
David,
of lighting
we
do
actually
you
lost
use?
you a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry about that. The lighting are LEDs.
Okay.
Ah, look at that.
And how many skeletons do you have? You have a lot of skeletons in your haunt, right?
You asked that before. I actually went through and counted. I have 22 skeletons.
Really? I would have guessed a lot more than that.
Yeah.
No?
How many square feet do you use?
That's it.
Question from Christopher Presley. David, what inspired you to choose a pirate theme?
Oh, when I was a kid going to Disney, the Pirates of the Caribbean, that was always my favorite. That was the first place I had to go. So I've probably been 7 or 8 times, and I've probably been on the ride 30 times. It's just something I've always loved.
I got to see it for the first time last year, and I was blown away by it. I loved it.
Oh, it's very cool.
I love pirates are like one of my favorite.
And here's the thing too. On a side note, is it's closed right now because they're doing a whole big overhaul of the place. There's no telling what it'd be like when you get back.
Yeah, we have a Disney trip coming up in September, and we delayed it by 2 weeks for the opening day of Pirates.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You gotta go on Pirates.
I gotta go on Pirates.
There you go.
They're like so cool, man. You can't get out. Like,
You know, the funny thing is that it's going down there. I was taking, I don't know how many pictures I took and was just in awe of just like the queue line where you're going through and all the different scenes and stuff. And I know everybody was looking at me like, what the hell? We're just standing in line. And this guy's all into it and looking at pictures and checking everything out.
right.
Oh, that's cool.
I still can't get over your pictures and the
That's
lighting.
part
that
of
you
the
got,
new
David.
ship.
I was looking at pictures of your ship earlier. He was showing me on Facebook, and I want to figure it out because we're thinking about making our son a pirate themed room eventually, and I want to make a bunk bed that looks like your ship,
Yeah, that'd be
but it's a
perfect.
bed.
Nice.
That would be
That's
awesome.
really cool.
Oh,
So we were
yeah.
looking at for inspiration on
I
where the beds
actually
could
had
go.
a neighbor. I had a neighbor ask me if I would build them something similar to that for their kid's bedroom. They
Oh,
want
that's
their kid to sleep in something similar to that.
Yeah, they never go to sleep.
Well, right now his nursery's all monsters, so you know.
David, I have a question from Robert Gaskell. What do you think is the most important thing to remember when doing a pirate-themed haunt?
Me personally, I love the details. All the little details that bring everything else of the pirate, not just the skeletons and the bandanas, but the jewels and the money, and give it a nautical feel. That's what I tried to do.
Looks great.
I'd say you did more than try. You definitely succeeded there.
Well, I think someone asked a few minutes ago how much square footage is your yard, but I don't think you ever got around to answering that question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Since we're in a cul-de-sac, the front yard is kind of pie-shaped. The driveway's 105 feet long, so it's that plus maybe 25 feet deep at the deepest part. So it's not real big, but I tried to cram a lot into it, so it looks full.
Well, it definitely looks full, that's for certain.
Yeah. And David, I commend you on knowing all your dimensions. Unlike this, I know his last name is Slanker, but we might as well call him Jim Slacker. That's his yard was.
Fine, I'll go out and measure it. It's time.
He was trying to be funny earlier, and now look, he just like, bam, this is my size, this is what I've got.
Pow! Gotcha.
I've had a lot of people ask me my size, but never in regards to that. So.
I didn't know Jim was going there.
Like why are they asking you that?
Yeah, I know.
Inquiring minds.
And a lot of
I've had the problem where I've made something and it didn't fit in the space, and then I had to take half of it apart so I could use it.
Oh, man.
And I hated that.
So you stick with the pirate theme every year then?
Oh boy.
Does your stuff come apart?
Just keep it
Does your stuff come apart for storage, or because that's something that we always have to figure out?
The shipment does, yes.
Yeah, Marine Prez wants to know, speaking of squeezing everything into the space, where do you store everything?
Well, the ship comes apart. It's in 9 or 10 pieces.
Gotcha.
So it's around back. It's under the deck. Everything else is in body, in the garage, or in the shed. So that's how I eat most of my stuff.
And Gina Doctor wants to know, David, do you use fog in your hunting?
Yes, I have 3 fog machines.
Excellent.
Now, David, there's a lot more information than I know everybody wants to get from you, but I do want to go ahead and jump on over and talk to Ron and Lori a little bit, and we'll come back to you. But one thing I'm going to start off with Ron is Ron did a tutorial, and he did it on night photo tips. But,
dude, I watch that.
I'm a little perplexed because I just watched a lot of pictures from David's hunt all at night, and the photos were phenomenal with their lighting and stuff. So You better bring it, Ron.
No pressure.
Well, I got to thank Jamie and Julie because they suggested doing the night photo video. So I was like, that's an awesome idea, and I'll do it. So, and I was determined to get it done before tonight. So.
No, it's a good. And that's the thing that's come up on multiple Hangouts. Talking about how do you get those pictures? How do you do that? Because everybody struggles with it.
I think I'm the one that brought it up every time.
Probably so. I mean, it's because you see so many pictures and you're just blown away, and then you try to do it and you're like, what? None of that worked. That just looks like shit.
Well, there you go.
Well, Ron, Lori, if you could, I know I redirected you a little bit, but if you could just tell everybody kind of how you got started and a little background on your display.
Well, we've been doing this. I mean, we started building stuff probably about like 2010.
It was once we moved to Austin
once
because
we
lived
here to Texas.
Yeah, we lived in New Mexico for a while in Albuquerque in the college area because he was at school, and we had 2 trick-or-treaters in 3 years.
Yeah, and they were like 20 years old.
Well, they were like 20 with their babies. So we were like running around their house trying to find candy bars or something to give them so they didn't vandalize the place. And we realized how much we missed having trick-or-treaters because North Carolina was huge.
Yeah.
So we moved here. We started, I think it was 2010, just with a graveyard and other stuff in a rental house. We were there 2 years.
Yeah, we were there for like 2 years.
We got quite a bit. We went from like 30 kids the first year to 150 the second year, and then we moved. So it sucks for all them. And we bought our house here 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
And so now we started adding all the stuff, and we went into a Western theme because our neighborhood is all the streets are like Gatling gun and shootout and.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, our streets actually shootout.
Shootout, and it's on the corner of shootout and gunfight.
Yeah, so it's
so
like
you had awesome inspiration.
You have to do a Western theme.
Yeah.
Hey, them Texans are really original there.
Oh,
yeah, well,
live in our neighborhood. They moved here and they live on Blue Hill. So we went with the Western theme, and it's worked out. We've added a couple buildings each year, and each year's gotten bigger. Like our buildings have gone from normal size to like huge.
Are they just facades, or are they full buildings?
They're facades. So the back's unfinished. And I know that Gina's watching, so I have to give a shout out to Chris and Gina at Hollywood Hunter because their videos have been like super helpful at building our facades. It's built. I mean, they show how they build their flats and stuff, and it's all like how you would build for like TV and movies and stuff. And like finding that out and like seeing how they do it was a huge help because that way, I mean, we can actually store that in our garage, and it doesn't actually take the whole garage, which is nice.
Yeah, but
not that we can get our car on there.
Our car's still
Of course not.
But yeah, it's I think we've gotten smarter each year. The older facades are a lot harder to store and break down because we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't think that far ahead.
Right.
And now we've realized we're running out of space quickly.
Yeah, we got to think about storage.
Yeah. So we come up with a couple of things each year that we really want to do. We already have our plans for this year, which are pretty big plans.
Right. Yeah.
We want to do a shooting gallery and a photography studio where they can take pictures and email it to themselves.
Oh, cool.
Maureen Perez had asked if you added new stuff each year, so you do every year. You add new.
Every year we try to add something. We had a new baby last year.
Yeah, so it's a little bit trickier. Yeah,
you're counting that as a new part of the hunt.
You got a spitter prop.
Yeah, well then we decided to start trying to have number 2, and we looked at it, we're like, well, if we got pregnant this month, we'd have it at Halloween. We're like, we can't do that. We got to wait like 2 months.
At least your priorities are straight.
Sleep in separate bedrooms.
And then we just found out that we are expecting number 2. We just found out this week. And we were like, oh, good, it's not till the end of December. Yeah, so we were very excited that it wasn't until December.
Yeah.
But
and you all heard it here first on the Hangout.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We are definitely a haunting couple. We do it all together.
Yeah, we're like
work together.
Dawn. We work on everything.
Which is good because we don't fight about the money we spend until after we spend it.
Yeah, we just.
Nice.
Then we spend it. We're like, oh no.
Yes. Now, see, that's the difference. Now, see, that's why haunt couples are so awesome. It's because you're spending it together, and you're not going, How much did that cost?
Right.
I don't know,
Yeah, you don't have to explain it.
So you have to like go and like buy little things all year round just to make it look like you didn't spend no money on it.
Exactly. I know.
Trying to be sneaky about it and shit. Like,
We decided I'm going to take next year off and not teach for a year. And the first thing we thought about was, what is this going to do to our Halloween budget?
we need paint. We need paint. You better get your ass to work.
I know, that's what we were trying to figure out. We were like, wait, how bad is this going to be? We're like, well, I get paid through August, so we're okay.
I love it. They're planning their kids around Halloween. Their work schedule around Halloween.
You gotta do it.
You got to have priorities, you know?
There you go. There you go. I hear you.
Question from Harold Kynes. Ron and Lori, how much are you influenced by nearby haunts like House Torment?
I've never been to House Torment.
Yeah, we actually haven't been there yet.
We haven't.
So not at all.
We haven't been there.
Next question.
Well, we live in a very young neighborhood. Our trick-or-treaters are probably 6, 7, 8 years old. A few of my middle school kids find us, and I always tell them, like, if you find me, you can come. If not, I'm not telling you where I live. But we have mostly younger kids. So we really don't do a whole lot of like House of Torment scary. It's more
ours is more like kind of like
Haunted Mansion-esque.
Yeah. Like not creepy. Like it's more creepy.
You know Dawn over there is just cringing. She's like, all those kids you can hear.
I know. Well, it's like even the thing that we're adding this year, the shooting gallery. We're very excited about it, but it is an interactive laser shooting gallery that you'd play at Disney or Cabela's or anything. And it's going to be a very interactive part, but it's not made to be really scary because our neighborhood is so young.
Right, yeah.
Very, very young kids.
Yeah, and this is like...
I still don't see the connection. Why aren't you trying to make them cry?
You know what? I make them cry all day at work.
No, you said they were young. But that means they're easier to make cry, so I'm just not getting it.
I did make an 11-year-old today. That was because I told him he didn't do his homework. This was...
Marine Press wants to know how many buildings are in the haunt and how many square feet does it all take up. This is the square footage
episode.
So I have a SketchUp drawing of our yard, so I could actually like measure it real quick and pretend like I knew what it was.
I'll give you a hint. Just make up stuff.
Nobody
You never know.
Lied to us.
We live on 3 acres.
Yes.
There you go.
No, 36 by 26.
Yeah, that's like the overall dimensions of the yard.
The nice thing is he got his master's in landscape architecture, so he draws up these beautiful sketches and these beautiful like plans. So we need something.
You should have never said that. Oh my God. Dude,
you know how many people
You won't be getting a lot of private messages tomorrow.
It's awesome.
They were like, what's this? Saw you on the Hangout.
It works out well though because he's such a planner and he sketches these things, these beautiful things, and I just kind of go out there and put boards together. So it works out because he goes, no, this doesn't match the drawing.
Yeah, we do work out. Yeah, because I'm like the OCD type. I draw it out in like SketchUp, which is like a 3D rendering program. So I like draw it out and I'm all detailed and like obsessing over like, oh, should this be 2 inches or should this be 3 inches? And she's just like, what are you doing? Like just build it.
And then somehow it comes together pretty well.
Yeah, it works out well. So.
Yeah, size doesn't matter. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, right.
No, you could tell us the truth. You're out there throwing it together, Lori, and he's walking over there going, oh my God, it's 6 inches out of the way. How are we supposed to
I think what really happens...
He got a tape measure and shit. He's like, what's going on?
I think what really happens is I help build it on the weekends, then I go to work, and while you're working at home, you go out and actually change it,
Yeah.
I just don't notice.
I take my lunch break and I'm like, all right, let me move this over 3 inches. And then,
You can't do that next year.
A question from Psycho on YouTube. Question for Ron and Lori. How many actors do you have in your house?
You're looking at them.
Yeah, that's it.
So you guys get in costume, or?
We do.
Yeah, we get in costume.
We get in costume. I was hoping to change to a saloon girl this year, but since I'll be 7 months pregnant, it's Prairie Girl. And he's a cowboy and I'm Prairie Girl. We dressed up our baby as an inmate last year. And that's pretty much it.
So what are you doing as a pregnant your pregnant costume then?
It's a big prairie, well, literally big prairie girl. So I'll have like
So you all don't have, you got a Western theme. You don't have like the traditional, you know, like bar and whorehouse, and you can come out like.
That's what I was gonna say.
I was the whore who wasn't very smart in that case because I got knocked up. We want to build a saloon, but I don't know when we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
We have so many other things right now.
You know what, though? I do have a question that just came to mind for you, Ron and Lori. Especially since Gina and Chris are watching. You've already expressed how dedicated you are by, you know, your work schedule for and delivery schedules and everything else. The main question is, do you guys trench out and bury all of your cable lines in your front yard?
No. Yeah.
You did it under all the. You were able to hide it under all the decks and behind the buildings, but
well,
no.
We don't go as far as they do. No, I saw it. Well, you know, like. Yeah, I thought about it, but I can't dig up the grass. So, you know, yeah.
Our grass finally grew.
There's actually a picture in here somewhere of these cables everywhere.
So there is a line that you finally draw at that point.
Once we start setting up and then you're trying to wire everything, it's just kind of like, I'm like, it just goes out the window. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stretch this wire this way, this wire goes this way.
You did dig the one that was actually on the walking path. If it's hidden behind the fences, you didn't dig it. Yeah. We didn't want people tripping on it, so we're careful.
Look, now they're totally trying to work it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, oh my God, we do need to bury it."
I know, we do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but we were just blown away. But Gina and Chris actually trenched out and buried all the cables and everything else, and we were just like, "Holy crap! I can't believe you did that all in your front yard." And buried everything.
We have talked about running conduit under the grass. When we redo our sprinklers,
that would be pretty cool. Just to have it in there like throughout the year, and then you could just run your wires and all that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ron will have that all planned out.
I'll have a SketchUp drawing for that.
I'm sure he will.
Hey, Brad, do we have any rapid fire questions we can go down the line real quick?
Well, we had a question that I guess could apply to anyone from Mary Powell. What's the most challenging skill you've had to learn to build up your haunt?
Patience. That is really hard to do when you're like, just put another coat on. No, it has
Patience.
to
Yeah, I don't know. I've learned so many electronics, welding.
Well, for Chip, it's waiting on stuff to dry.
Yeah.
That's right. Learning patience. Namaste. You know.
Well, hey, Chip, I think Jamie has a question for you.
Sure.
I do. He's caught me typing. But I do have a question for you. I want to know about that really awesome prop over your shoulder.
This guy over here to the right here?
Yes, that's the one. That's exactly the one.
Let's tilt that guy just back a little bit. That is a big clown prop that I'm working on for this Halloween, and you know, it's gonna have, you know, it's kind of that in between stage. So that's Barth Mache, and then I've just covered it with a layer of wood glue on it. So now it's kind of nice and firm and ready for some paint, and that's going to be kind of one of those props that comes gliding out at you when you're you know, walking past. It's going to be on a wire, and it's going to look like just framed on the wall, and it'll just kind of pop out at you a little bit as you walk by. That's and cool. Man, that scare works great. You know, you see some giant thing just, oh wow, that's kind of scary, and then it comes forward, you know, a couple of feet, so that really gets people good.
It's huge. Now, is it going to have a body underneath it too?
No, no, it won't have a body on it. It's just I'm going to have a whole area where you walk through of these heads of clown faces walking through, and of course the biggest one will come popping out at you, and you know.
It's really great character design of that clown face. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. It's you know, the bigger you get on these things, man, you know, the more impact it makes on people, and hopefully they'll be following down, you know, when it jumps out at them. So yeah.
A question for Chip from Pumpkinhead 625: do you still do a home haunt at all?
No, we don't do home haunt. I mean, you know, we went into professional haunting with a very singular purpose of having a very large haunt, of working towards that. So this year we have partnered with a berry farm outside of Richmond, Chesterfield Berry Farm, which already has a daytime harvest event where about 30,000 people come. So we're growing from maybe 500 to 1,000 people, a very small haunt, to probably seeing thousands and thousands of people. So, no, I mean, I'm really amped up and excited about it, but I'm so freaking nervous, man. Just thinking about how big this thing's getting so fast. But yeah. But no, there's just no time. My kids are always like, Dad, why don't you do the home haunt again? I'm like, man, I just can't do it. It's so much. But we get the kids into the haunt and everything, and we're raising them right, getting little haunters coming up, and
Nice. So do they act at your haunt?
Oh, I've got 4 kids. My boys are teenagers now. They're 13 and 12. My daughter's 9, and my littlest one is 4. And they all come and work in the haunt. And my daughter, who's 9, is just creepy as all get out, man. She just has
Children
this.
they're creepy.
She's got the knack, man. I mean, I love to act. I love to do haunt acting, and she really could just stand there and stare at people. They're like, "We're not coming in." I was like, "Wait a minute! Don't scare them off. At least let them pay first. Don't run them off, man." So yeah, it's totally a family thing. So it's kind of grown from the home haunt, where we've all done it, and now it's family and friends and people we've known a long time. So it's kind of a big group of people, man. It's just a blast. It's the greatest. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. So
that's so great when they can all come in there together and make it a big family thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it came from. Was that it was about 5 or 6 families joined us, and when we were a neighborhood, and they just kept working with us and sticking with us, man, and so we've moved about an hour away from where we were, so we've kind of lost a few people, so we're scrambling around to get a few more to join us, man, but we'll get there. But it's like every night's like a big party. It's a blast.
Christopher Presley wants to know, what's the biggest prop you've made with Barth Mache, and how long did it take?
Well, if you go back a few slides there, it was that big fella that's all in gray.
Oh, he's actually my favorite of yours, actually.
Yeah, we just call him the Grim, Harry Potter fans. So we call him the Grim, and that's. All the face and the hands are all Barth Mache with monster mud covering over them, and I mean that probably took about 2 weeks to do, but that's probably just because it started out with legs and everything, and then I just like, oh my God, this thing's just falling apart beneath the weight, and I was like, about my engineering. I'm more an artist. I'm not an engineer, man. So it was falling apart. I was like, crap. Well, let's put a robe around him, forget the legs. So my troll became like a scary dude with a robe on. So
I still think you could stick him right in that Where the Wild Things Are movie. He'd fit right in as one of those characters.
Totally.
Yeah.
He'd be perfect for that.
Yeah, I definitely love that book. Yeah, that's absolutely. So that's probably one of the biggest ones.
Mary Powell wants to know, what's the biggest challenge of working with the contact glue?
Well, there's some health concerns there. I've tried doing this inside, and so there's some fumes coming off of the glue. And I mean, if you like that, you can definitely hang out and get a little high if that's your thing, whatever. So you got to do it outside. You can't really get a lot done in the when it's cold, So it's kind of one of those summertime things, unless I had a bigger shot with a lot of fans or ventilation, and that's.
Now, are all your props the mache, or do you have other mediums in there too?
So anything we make is I've experimented using the foam, the spray foam and things, and I love that. That's great. We've gotten a bunch of bought big chunks of blocks of foam, and I've carved some stuff out of that. And I've made some stuff for some local people that in restaurants and all, and covered them in fiberglass. But my God, man, if you have messed with foam and carved it out, and you've got foam beads everywhere, and yeah, it's like, man, screw this. I got my neighbor's house has got the wind kicks up and blows foam all in his front yard. I'm like, oh my gosh, so it's like, right, everything's out of the backyard, obviously. So, definitely sticking with the cardboard and everything is it works. It works for me anyway. So.
Well, and Chip, you mentioned earlier too, and you pointed out the fact that when you do the barth mache, you're building up and out. You're not taking away, you're adding to, and then
right.
That's obviously something that the way you see things and work with things works much better versus like the foam. You're having to subtract stuff. So yeah, I'd imagine besides the fact that you got beads everywhere, I would imagine just on how you view things and how you like to work with things, that works out much better.
Oh yeah, it's way more intuitive. I mean, if you've got some talents at sculpting things, man, it's really a blast. It's easy, and you might start working on something and think it's going to look one way, but just let your hands guide the way, man. It just comes out into something really cool looking. So,
especially if you've got the fumes going, right?
Absolutely. And, a couple of beers, a little fumes, and good times.
That's when the creativity really flows.
Yeah. When you were mentioning the fiberglass before, when you coat or when you have coated the foam or anything else, are you just using the fiberglass resin, or are you actually covering it with the fiberglass the batting as well?
Yeah, I'll use the fiber, the actual fiberglass mesh,
okay.
And I mean that's going to make stuff last a very long time. Hopefully I'll be handing these pumpkins off to my kids, or whatever we made out of fiberglass.
Yeah.
And it's very expensive to do it that way, and it's a lot of work. But you've made an investment in it. It's going to last a long time. So
yeah.
It just takes a lot. That's a learning curve right there, is messing with that stuff. So if you've ever done it, so
well, I was just curious. I've played around with, back in the day, in car audio days, we would build out custom audio cabinets with fiberglass, but we would stretch fleece over the top of the form and then just use the resin. So that's why I went and showed. And I've tried that on a couple props, especially like if you've done like a chicken wire frame or something. Or if you just built out a wood frame and you could stretch that fleece over it and just cover it with the fiberglass resin, and it's a rock at that point.
That's a fantastic idea. I've made some zombies.
You eliminate all that, the actual fiberglass, all that, the stuff, the itchy stuff, all the fiberglass mesh, and it's a hell of a lot. That fleece is a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the expense there, and you get those little fiberglass things in your fingers and everything. It's but I've made some zombies where you take clothing. The denim doesn't work as well, but if you take some t-shirts or a shirt or some pants, and you kind of maybe make your head or whatever in your hands out over an armature of a body, put the clothes on, and then paint that stuff with fiberglass. Boom! It's hard as a rock, and you've got a great zombie, man. You're going to have it for years. So that's kind of one way to use it. But,
Nice.
Okay, well, we're moving on to Dave. And we're going to... Dave?
So what do you want to know?
It's an open book.
He's there somewhere.
Well, I got a question for you from Mary Powell. Dave, what is your favorite pirate prop that we've got?
That would probably be the guy that's behind me. My photo op that never gets used. I put it out the last 3 years, and not one person had her picture taken with it, but that's my favorite.
Well, now that picture that Jose has up right now, that actually has water that comes down, or does that just look like it does?
Oh no, that's a water fountain. That's got a water pump in it. It goes the tube up through, and it comes out the bottle.
That's cool.
That is so neat. I think that's probably one of my favorite props of yours.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. That was the easiest to make. That only took a day and a half.
Really?
I like those.
That's how it always is. I think you spend like
a day and a half.
On, no one notices.
That's like 25% of your entire week.
Yeah.
So what do you
but now
have
I
planned
actually
for
start
next year?
sooner.
That's how I want to die, man. Somebody just like
I have to
put the bottle in me and stick me in a barrel.
At some point in time, I have a feeling we should bring this picture printed out, and then we'll just set it up next to Jose at some point in time during MHC in the middle of the night, and we'll see if they match.
Well,
That's
what
kind of
things do you
resembling,
have?
doesn't it?
It does. So what do you have planned for next year? What do you have in line?
I'd like to add the front part of the ship, but until I pass that idea to the wife, I can't build anything that big anymore.
Well, how tall is that ship? It looks really
I
big.
have to get that part approved. It's a pretty big size ship.
So you're not part of the hot
That
couples
part.
group.
It's 9 feet long.
9 feet. Wow, that's really tall.
We haven't
That
graduated up that high yet. But it's about 9-10 feet long, about 8 feet wide, and about 7.5 feet tall.
Wow. Now that pelican is really cool. Did you make that, or is that something that you found?
No, I found that at Big Lots. It's actually sitting behind me.
Oh, that is awesome. Oh, I see it. Oh, that's the parrot?
That's not a parrot.
Yeah, there's a
parrot.
That's a parrot, man. I ain't that drunk.
I am, apparently.
There it is.
There's the pelican.
I always like how everyone notices the prop that you find like on clearance somewhere and they don't notice it doesn't put like 3 weeks into.
What was that, Laura? You got to share with the group. There's no talking amongst yourself. You're a teacher.
I was talking because you weren't listening.
That's like the first thing you say.
Well, I mean amongst ourselves, the whole group.
I love it how
Lori's over there passing notes like her kids do in class.
I said I love it how like every time we find just kind of something on clearance somewhere, we're like, oh, we'll throw this in. Everyone's like, how'd you make that? It's like that's the thing we didn't make. Thanks. Everything else we made, but I'm glad you like the $2 clearance item. That's awesome.
Oh, I like this one. He's got the sword behind his head.
That's awesome.
I like how you have all
nice.
of the different groups. You know, like everything is a different scene. How do you come up with your ideas?
It's just what I would imagine if Disney would hire me to do my own pirates in my yard.
Dude, he gets that from his wife, dude, because that's his wife right there with the sword. You know what I'm saying? That's where his ideas come from. He's like, one more prop in the yard, your ass is getting it.
I have a question. The smaller wine barrel that you have, did you make that, or is that actually a whiskey barrel? Because I see the big one. I'm trying to see the smaller one. Is that one that you created, or is that one that you found somewhere?
Oh, the one he's sitting on, that's just a small wooden barrel. It's just a smaller version.
That's cool. I like.
That's a 30-gallon. That's called a 30-gallon keg.
We had a hard enough time finding.
Yeah, it's
they
so
go,
hard
oh my
to
God.
find barrels here. Like, yeah.
People use them
crazy.
for all kinds of weird stuff now, and it's really expensive.
Yeah, they make like furniture and stuff. So you look on Craigslist, and someone's selling like a really crappy barrel. And they want like $300 for it.
Now wouldn't be a good time to tell you that I got a 30-gallon keg in the back of my truck that I picked up on the curb on the way home.
Oh man.
As long as you fill it up.
Yeah, there you go. My son was with me, and he looks over, and he sees me stop. He's like, "What are you stopping for?" I said, "Didn't you see that 30-gallon keg back there?"
I'm so jealous. We had to look forever. Like, Austin has a lot of artists and stuff, and they buy these things to do other stuff besides Halloween. I mean, what a waste.
Yeah.
So it drives the price up for us.
Damn it.
Or they'll buy a full size and they'll cut it in half.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
That drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I know. We have a half one that we bought because we bought a big one, a full one, and then they had cut it in half too, so we took that also. But yeah, it gets very old. We're like, you guys aren't doing anything cool with it.
Brad, you're right. The whole theme of tonight has all been about size.
All right. Well, since let's bring it over to like strength, and I would like to know, David, how do you get your corn stalks to stand up so well? Because I know that's a lot of problem. You know, people have a lot of problem with that. How to make your corn?
My stalk erect.
Jamie,
I had my mind in the gutter.
Yeah, how do you keep your stalks erect?
People have problems with that.
This is a legitimate question. There are people out there wanting to know. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, you should ask your doctor.
Little blue pills.
You guys are wrong.
It's not appropriate on this show.
That's right.
No, this is a legitimate question.
This is
I
not
want
a
to
sex
know.
show.
Yeah, no kidding. You know what? Lori may have had some of her students find her on this show even. Now look.
All right, all you guys watching at home, how many people want to know how David makes his corn stand up straight? I'm not the only one. Brandy wants to know. I know she does.
All right, well, let's get serious. Let's get serious. How do you keep the corn rock hard and erect? Jamie really wants to know.
I do really want to know.
I actually rebar.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry, what?
We missed it. I got it.
Now, Dave, here's your time to like hurry up and say something to get it out.
Because Jamie's not quite the shade of red yet we were hoping for, so let's keep this going.
Give me a minute, it's coming.
Okay, David.
How do I follow that?
He's not going to answer.
No,
Wow.
how I
That's the
get
second
the
time I've gotten in tears.
stand up.
Yeah, how does that happen?
I use a piece of 4-foot rebar, and I hammer it in the ground about a foot, and then I zip tie in 4 spots each cornstalk till I get what I think looks like a cornfield. That's how I do it.
Wow. His ground must be a lot softer than ours if we had to do that much rebar. We just give up.
That's the same thing we do. 4-foot rebar pounded into the ground and a couple zip ties.
Wow.
So you do,
Now, you do that for
do
each
one
stalk?
bar for yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Holy cow, that's a lot of
Now,
work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Although here it's like 90% limestone.
Now how I ended up doing it, and the rebar I think might have, I don't know, hell, at least the rebar might have been more expensive. I don't know what the option would be, but I ended up taking PVC pipe and cutting like, I guess a foot section. I can't remember what I cut it to, and I cut I don't know how many 12-inch sections, and then I went through and hammered those into the ground all throughout. Basically, I aerated my yard.
Wow.
And I did that, and then stuck the corn stalks in the in the PVC all the way
I
around the
wasn't
yard.
that smart. I
Create
couldn't
good
figure out how to
rows.
do single rows, so I put like one piece in, and then like bunched a whole bunch around them. That really wasn't the look I was going for, but I wasn't creative enough to figure it out. See, now I know. See, people are thankful that I asked this embarrassing question.
We have to go with the longer rebar because every year we have 50, 60 mile an hour winds. A storm or two with 50, 60 mile an hour winds, and even then it'll crack it above the rebar. So
Well, and you know the problem I ended up having with doing it with the PVC. I did that for a couple years, and it worked well. But the rebar where that would help where you're just talking about. But it would also help. What I found is that if we got a heavy rain, well, that PVC pipe in the ground would end up holding the water, which then would weaken the bottom of the corn stalk. It would soften it, and then if we got a heavy rain, next thing you know, our nice, hard, erect corn stalks would be very limp. And so it was very difficult to deal with. Time and time again. You had to go back and work it. You had to rework all the stalks to get them to stand nice and erect again.
And the rebar's ribbed, so the water comes right down.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, nice one.
Oh, I'm not saying anything else this show. I'm just going to sit quietly in the corner.
Right. So now that we're on, Jim,
Yeah.
let's go over some pictures. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
I got a question for Jim from Mark Fawcett. Jim, which of your pneumatic props was the most complex to put together, and do all your props run off of one compressor?
That's what I would know too.
Yeah, so they did last year. So as I've added props, we've added compressors. Right now, I'm up to an 80-gallon compressor, and with the sensors I'm using now, I don't have as many false firings. So yeah, we're running off the 80-gallon with a 60-gallon, about 105 gallons of reserves.
Man.
Wow. Well, he's got a lot of pneumatics in there. A lot.
Yeah.
So the most complex one is one that doesn't get the attention, and that's an obelisk based on one vial things did. And for me, I'm not an engineer. I'm just really stubborn. And for me, that was the most complex one because I had to make the hinges, weld the hinges, and it's on angles. And engineering-wise, that was the most complex. The one that took me really the longest to figure out how I was going to do it was the Pumpkin King, which was new this year. So it's a tie between those two.
Nice.
So
I do remember. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I remember when you talking about the Pumpkin King. I remember watching your videos as that was progressing. It was kind of cool because you kind of shared each stage where, okay, I got to this point, and now next I'm going to have the arms do this. But if I recall, and it's been a little while since I've watched that video, it seemed like to me you ended up saying something along the lines like, you know, all I got to do is figure out this mechanic stuff. My wife will end up doing all the decorating and getting this thing to look right.
Right, so that's where we're a team.
Yeah.
I do the welding, the frame, any basic setup of it, and then I'll just go to Dawn and I'll go, hey, you know, I need a pumpkin head.
Dude, I am so jealous. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So
That's cool. That's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
yeah, so he rises from about 5 feet tall, goes up to about, I think he's about 12 feet tall.
At least.
His arms move back and forth. So
And
it's funny.
They go up and down, and then they go like this too, which is amazing.
It's funny, the real small kids miss him because he's so big. They walk right by. But
Really?
Yeah, the real small kids.
Yeah.
Attention span and all.
What?
There he is.
Yeah, there he is, just sitting there.
In our corn stalks.
Yep.
Yeah.
With riveted reverb. Sorry.
I mean, that's a pretty big feat in itself, just to get him in this position and then all the way up as high as he goes.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't see his feet.
It's always kind of amazing when it actually works, because I'm never sure until we fire it that it's actually going to work.
You know, it's a good question, Jim. How often are you finding yourself running around the yard trying to make adjustments or fix or repair, or has everything been? Has everything been at least in the forefront designed and done and well enough that you're not having to struggle with that?
Please say all day. Please say all day.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
I mean, we have several thousand people come through over the month. And, I mean, you walk out there on a night and there'll be 200-300 people out, and you'll be, if you're taking out the garbage or something, and you're like, really, I wish I'd put pants on. But so they fire tens of thousands of times over the course of the season. So the older stuff gets repaired more.
Yeah.
We've become better at engineering as we've progressed. But usually every day I'll come home, walk the yard. You have a squirrel chew an airline or something.
Oh.
Or you see something that some weld snapped or some bolt snapped. Use grade 8 bolts and everything. But it's just firing so much. So I should walk half an hour every day, just going through, making sure everything's set. Water's filled up for the spitters. And such like that.
Jim, Robert Gaskell wants to know, how do you decide which prop triggers when?
They're all motion sensor. So it's just as people are triggering them.
There you go. Now, this picture that he's got up right now, I think, first off, that tree that you've got is freaking awesome to begin with. Just for the whole setting.
Well, we actually had two more trees. They were about 35-foot tall ash trees. But we got hit with the ash borer, and so last year we had to take them down. But it was funny, the one died a couple years ago, but I wasn't going to take it down because before Halloween. And it was right before Halloween, and I'm standing outside, and a woman comes up to me, and she goes, "How did you make that tree look really creepy and dead?" And I'm like, "It's because it's creepy and dead." So it was actually a challenge this year because we took down the 2 trees. We had to totally relay out the whole yard, and we had used those 2 trees a lot. So setup was a lot longer this year because we had to re-engineer a lot of things.
That makes it fun though too. It freshens it up a little bit.
I love the witch, man. The witch is.
Oh yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Stephen Reeves wants to know, Jim and Don, what system do you have for organizing that amount of stuff? I don't know if he's referring to firing off the props or if he's referring to just
where they're placed,
or just storage.
Yeah, so storage. I think you talked about it in an episode or 2 ago. You don't want to play Tetris against this.
Yeah.
So storage. We did this last year. Have to go to a outside storage shed. It's 10 by 30 feet and it's filled. I'm very OCD. So, and my kids are as well because we torment Dawn with it.
Stop!
And
makes me sound like a slob.
Well, I'll pay for this later. Yeah, so it's
good for the show, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm organized. People tell me I'm insanely organized just because I have all the bins labeled. I mean, little nut and bolt bins. Everything in my garage is labeled. But that's because we have so much stuff. If I don't label it, we can't find it. So.
Yeah, I would say
that's the territory I'm in. Half the time I spend building stuff, I'm just looking for the things that I need to do it.
I'm usually out buying more of the things that I can't find that we bought before.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Roll of tape.
Because I know where
go down and
everything's
find
at.
it when you're not looking.
That's cool.
This is actually one of my favorite props out there that a lot of people don't see, and we can't take credit for it. One of our friends in the Chicago Haunt Builders came up with it, and she brought it to one of our builds, and I fell in love with it, and so I turned it over to Dawn and said, "Here, can you make 36 of these?" So it's skull cobs that we put into the corn stalks, and to me they're tremendously creepy, and it's just a detail effect that for the people who catch, I think it adds a lot.
Yeah. I love these. They're awesome.
Those are cool.
Dawn said she'd make as many as anyone needed.
Sweet.
All right.
Yeah, you're digging the hole, and it's getting deeper.
She doesn't
We
need.
will be talking after the show. It's okay.
She doesn't need fingertips.
Yeah, the hot
So,
glue.
all the columns are animated. There's a large skull erector there. Just there's pneumatics. Or motorized.
Got a question here from Mark Fawcett. He mentioned that that there's another holiday that we won't name that you do a display for that's just as big or bigger. He wants to know who has that kind of energy.
It's just insanity. We do tear down immediately the morning of the 1st. Tear down starts. It takes 2 or 3 days. We get it cleaned up. We clean up the yard. It hasn't been mowed in 5 or 6 weeks. We've got trees, dropped all their leaves. And then we do reside the house. It becomes a giant gingerbread house.
Wow.
About 100 elves decorating. There's a light show and everything. So we do turn it right over. And then in January, we're just a gelatinous pile every time.
I bet. Holy cow, that's a lot of work.
Every year we're like, we need to do something for Christmas. We live next door to these very religious older couple. I think they think we're heathens. I really do. Like, they're very nice to us, but they always bring us presents from their church.
Hey, maybe they want you to put them in a display or something.
Every year we're like, we need to do Christmas, we need to do Christmas, and then we're like, here's a string of lights, we're good.
Because you're so
By November,
tired.
you're just too tired. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
You're like wore out from Halloween. You're like,
burned out, yeah.
Well, Jim, maybe this answered the question since you immediately go into the next mode and have to get everything ready. But Legendary Haunt Tour is going to be in Chicagoland this year. Are you guys going to be joining in on that, or?
We haven't talked about it yet, but we might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's with the Chicago Haunt Builders.
I love your buddy there. It's all
Yeah,
Is it still a photo bomb when it's video?
The funny thing is, Jim just completely ignored him. Just went on as if he wasn't even on his shoulder.
We just rescued him about a week and a half ago, so he's.
Oh, well, he needs some loving.
Yeah.
So, but.
Again with the size issue. It had to be a great thing. Like an oxen
Big or go home, right?
Yeah, what's the square footage of that dog?
That's not a dog, that's a horse.
He's about 120 pounds of.
Yeah, he's underweight at 120 pounds. So.
Yeah.
Man, he looks great though. What a loving dog. He looks happy.
Yeah, he's a big teddy bear. So.
I still say he's a horse.
He is.
Follow-up from Robert Gaskell, PIR triggers, which do you prefer?
None. I hate them. I can't stand them. They drive me totally insane. I would be out of haunting if I had to stay with PIRs. So, it's... I have gone
You're kind of on the fence there. Can you, like...
Tell us how you really feel.
No, they have caused me so much angst. Just because... If you
because it's outside, or is that what it is?
It's a lot of things. So they're outside. They pick up every leaf. You saw the street. It's not a main street, but it's a heavy residential street because all the cul-de-sacs. So I would try burying them in PVC. I'd tape over the tops, and I'd still get thousands of misfires, just to the point where my compressors couldn't keep up with them even when I had multiple compressors. So I've gone to a brake beam sensor, a diffused brake beam sensor. Has about a 10-foot range. I don't need a reflector. They're more costly.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive. That's like for like a hayride or something, right?
Yeah, but the ones I got I get them directly from China. Although Fright Pops has them as well. But to me, they're worth it, and we've changed over, and it's made a world of difference. So they're diffused brake beam sensors. They're right on, almost no misfires, and it has reduced the wear and tear on the props tremendously because they're not misfiring all the time.
Right. How much you pay for one, like overseas?
$32.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, that's with shipping and everything and everything.
Yeah, that's not bad for like if you go to actually pay for one. Like I was looking at them, they were like $100 and something.
Yeah, Fright Props has them. They're more, but I mean, they're selling them one off at a time. We'll do a group buy. We just did a group buy with the club. Bought I don't know, four dozen of them or something like that. So it gets a good price, lower shipping.
Is a dog's tail like hitting the table?
I know. I'm thinking. All I'm thinking is, wow, are these fumes getting to me now, or is it holy shit?
Oh, you know what? It's the cat. She's behind there and she's hitting the. Is that what was happening? The picture was bouncing.
Yeah, she was on the boat. We're like.
Yeah. Oh no, the cat. She's cleaning herself and she keeps hitting the board.
I'm just thankful that it wasn't just me because I'm sitting here staring. I'm like, oh my god.
I started looking at the cereal boxes. I'm like.
That's our wall of serial killers.
Like your serial killers?
I noticed
that
was awesome.
That one was the Fright Props catalog with Ram on the front. My bad.
Yeah, he's gonna slap you when he sees you too.
Damn, I'm glad he's on the West Coast.
All right, well, we're gonna move over to Ron and Lori, and we're gonna put some pictures up. You guys can explain to us.
What the heck were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
Yeah, this is we have a witch shack, and she's like one of our main characters of our little haunt, like on our backstory. And so this year we added a back on her shack. We set up a little table in there with her little spell books and then her lantern
and her rats.
And
then we had, what are those lights called?
Those.
These ones.
Yeah. It's those the fire and ice spotlights that they were selling at like Spirit last year and stuff. We had one that was like a green and like orange one, and it looked really cool. We had that projected on the back of the wall. So yeah, that looked really cool. You want to talk about?
We've recruited some of my family. I can't sew to save my life, but my mom does. So she made us a little saloon girl outfit for one of our skellies, and then she made us like a dozen vests that we've beat up and everything for our guys. So we have different characters throughout the theme. We actually have like a whole backstory. So we have this little town of Restless, and there was the witch lady, and she was selling like potions, and one of the ones was for eternal life. And all these people in the town bought eternal life, but what she didn't tell them was you are eternal life, but you still die, and you're a skeleton, and you're just kind of stuck. So we have this whole story of like these greedy, horrible town people are stuck now in this Wild West town. But yeah, so my mom's been very nice about making costumes for us and costumes for our skellies, and seeing her measure like the spine of a skeleton to try to figure out how to make the skirt is hilarious.
Really awesome, she borrows the skeletons to take them home so she can use them as tools to sew everything.
It's like a hot family. It's not like a hot
it's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's your stuff.
So there's my rat's nest cables.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's the cables I mentioned earlier, where I start once we get it set up and I start routing cables, they're just kind of hanging there. So.
Yeah, this is what our front door looked at.
Yeah, that was our, outside our front door. The UPS guy was really confused whenever he would try to deliver packages.
He didn't know what to do.
Do I go through?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he usually figured it out, but eventually he's like, I don't know, I'm just gonna leave it here.
Question for the Gustinella-Restless. Did I get it right?
Yeah,
Yep.
good job.
There you go. Well, Gina Doctor actually had this question for everyone, but we can ask you guys. And I don't remember if you went over this or not. Apologize if you did. But how long does it take you to set up the haunt, and how long do you leave it up?
It took longer this year.
Yeah,
But we also have a 6-month-old.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we took about like a week probably to set up, right?
Yeah, about a week.
We kind of would start like with the main building, so just be adding details. I mean, we were adding details
up until the last second.
minute.
Yeah.
And then we usually keep it up for about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember, I don't know how you did it, but you took down that whole building by yourself. I went outside to see how I could help, and this 13-foot tall building was down, and he was still alive, and I still haven't figured out I was like, how did you do that? That's the top of the building.
One thing we did this year is like on the lighting there, so we've used those, they're like RGB LED lights, right? So they're the ones that have like a little remote or a controller, so that way you can control the colors on the fly. And then what I did on this is I found connectors, like waterproof connectors, so that way this is a 3-section piece of the facade there. I can just leave those guys screwed on there. They just unscrew from each other, so it breaks down into 3 sections, and then it's like way easier than trying to like screw the lights back on when it's all set up and everything. Yeah, the lights have been it was really cool this year, because last year we had like basic spots with just like set colors. Mm-hmm. This time we had little like remotes that we got for each strand of lights, and then we could change the color on the fly and just kind of play around with it and see what looked good and all that. So that was actually really cool.
That does look good.
Yeah, that was impressive. You did a good job.
Yeah, and I got those, like Jim was talking about, I got those like on eBay from China and stuff, and it's way cheaper to get like the little controllers and the lights and everything. I mean, you got to wait like a month to get here, but it's way cheaper than ordering it, locally.
Lori, in the future, if you want to tell Ron that he did a good job, you should submit the comment to me, and I'll ask him. I'll mention that. We have a protocol here that we need to follow. So.
Exactly. Sorry about that. Sorry.
That's right.
So a question from Mary Powell regarding scaring. We were talking about the kids earlier. What's the best scare? Like, you're trying not to be too scary, but what's the best scare you have kind of achieved? And like, what's your favorite way to get scares with the haunt? And anyone else can answer this as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't have much of an answer.
Honestly though, I want to add that this year, because I do feel like it feels kind of static. We don't have the the awesome pneumatics like Jim and Don have and stuff. But I'd like to do more of that, and I was thinking it'd be cool to do like the remote thing where maybe one prop could do 2 different things, and then that way you could. It's a little bit more subtle for the younger kids, but when you got like the teenagers show up, you could do something a little better. But as far as like specific things, we don't really have anything on that, so we'll let others.
Yeah, ours is. I mean, if you're scared by the Haunted Mansion at Disney World, you might be scared by our house.
Anyone else have any great scares they want to talk about? Guess not. So
okay, moving on. Let's go. Hey, let's go to the candles.
Yeah, those candles. I just put that in there because this year we made up. Those are a little power box with RCA jacks, and then because before we had the candles with like the little battery power tea lights and stuff, which look cool, but it's always a pain in the butt to turn them on every night, and then when the battery runs out. Yeah, so these are actually flicker LEDs that we got. And then they're wired into each candle, and then all of the candles and some other stuff and some lanterns and stuff, it just all hooks up via the RCA plugs into little power boxes. And I think I made like 3 of those power boxes so we could put them at different points in the yard and just plug it in, and it actually worked really, really well.
Yeah, so instead of each night turning on 100 different switches, we flip one thing and the whole thing's good to go, ready to go.
No,
you guys actually do a tutorial on that?
Yeah, there's a tutorial on YouTube for that.
Not on your page or on your page? No.
Yeah, it's on the Restless Hollow YouTube channel.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Hey,
way
Brad,
better.
did Lori
Yes, sir.
send you a message to tell Ron that he did a really good job with that?
I can't. He has the keyboard. I'm telepathically sending it to you.
Jose won't let them type. He's mean like that.
Well, that's weird too. You know what though? Yeah, you were breaking protocol, Brad, by telling her to type something because she is not allowed to type anything.
Well, she can talk to me. We're on the show at the same time. Ask me, and then I'll answer.
Oh. Hey, Ron, since she didn't do it, good job on that, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So this
Hey, does that say gay Undertaker?
No, DK.
Oh.
I've actually thought of that too.
I
He
never
used to be
thought of that.
segregated.
No, we're just trying to come up with
Jose,
names.
cut off the alcohol. No more alcohol for you.
Is that a problem for you, Jose?
No, I just it's Texas, you know.
Oh my goodness.
No, this is our big one this year that we added, and it's how big was it? It was big.
Yeah, it's like 13 feet tall and I don't know, 12 feet wide.
Here we go with the sizes again.
See? We have to show off because our jail looks all puny next to it.
Yeah, the jail looks all tiny.
Well,
no,
you've got a nice town. You know, they may all be living in perpetual health for the rest of their life.
Right.
They're just living. They're living nice. They're not cheating each other. Apparently.
Exactly.
they are.
Jamie,
Yeah.
didn't you want to know how they erect all those facades?
I was just thinking about asking that question.
All right,
Yes, thank
guys,
you.
she wins.
Oh, this is for
Oh,
next
here's
year.
what
This is cool.
come.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is
So
cool.
this is a preview of this year. This is the shooting gala we were talking about, and it's all electronic. So it's like the ones you'd see in an arcade where you've got all the little targets set up, and then you shoot them, and it triggers a prop, and different stuff happens. So this is one of the prototypes that I built for it, and I'm using Arduino boards, which is kind of like a little mini computer board, and you can program them to do pretty much whatever you want. So we bought this replica prop gun. It's like a non-firing prop gun, and then basically retrofitted it with like the wires and an IR LED, and then it hooks up to the little Arduino boards, and that way it it can count down shots. And then the one on the top there is the little receiver, and then that'll be like little targets that go under each prop that we do. And then we're gonna do it up like an old blacksmith. So we'll have all sorts of different like tools hang in. You can like shoot something, the tools will bump around and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, if hopefully we can pull it off.
Yeah,
but,
if it all goes together, we're really
I'm pretty
cool.
excited
I
about
hope
it.
you're going to do a tutorial on that.
I've been documenting the process so far, and I'm going to keep doing that and put up videos and share how I did it because it's definitely a learning experience trying to figure this all out. So.
Yeah, it'll be cool if it goes together.
Yeah,
I'm
it
excited
sounds
about it. That was like my
awesome.
favorite thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
What am I saying? The adults, everybody showing up is going to have a blast with that.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome.
what we're hoping.
I want to come over and play.
My kids in class are asking me because I teach middle school, so I tell them all the stuff I shouldn't tell them as a middle school teacher. I was telling them what we were doing, and they said, "Well, how much are you going to charge?" I'm like, "Well, it's free, except for you guys. You find my house."
Question from Goth Gloom for Ron and Lori. Austin gets pretty windy, so how do you keep the facades from blowing over?
We had one blow over our first year here, remember?
Yeah.
I got home and our jail was on the floor.
Yeah, the jail. Yeah, the first year. Well, the first time we built it, it was just out of foam, so it was kind of flimsy. We would have a stake. But now, I mean, we frame it out, and then we put support beams going down into the ground. So I drive stakes down into the ground, and then we screw them down to the ground really well.
Mm-hmm. We haven't had any problems.
Yeah,
since.
last year, I mean, we got some serious storms last year, and they all held. So it was awesome.
we were pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
It's well, the rebar here doesn't work so well because we have all our rebars bent.
Yeah,
the ground is so
there's
hard.
so many rocks. There's so much limestone that you get it in, a little bit, and then it just stops.
And we have rebar
And then
that's
it just
bent at an
bends.
angle.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that doesn't work so well.
It is tricky figuring that out. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of support stuff.
Great.
No,
Hey,
your answer should have just been, Don, if you would get your lazy ass over and visit our haunt. How we can keep it up.
That's true. That's true. We can give you a walking tour. We can show you how it
So, Brad, we got any more questions before we get on to the prizes? We got
a question here from Taman Graveyard Haunted Theme Park. Question to all home hunters. Having come from a background of being a home hunter myself, I wonder if you guys have had to deal with vandalism. If so, how do you handle it, and how do you try and avoid it? Anybody have any thoughts on
I
that?
think in Texas you can shoot someone after dark.
Benefits of living in Texas, right?
And then you have a new prop, so it's a win-win.
Is it really part of the rule that it has to be after dark?
No, it really is. If they're doing something to your property after dark, you can shoot them and protect your property.
Wow.
I mean, we wouldn't, but you could.
Yeah. So that's like a whole other level of the shooting gallery then.
It's a lot of added realism.
We've been lucky and haven't had anything hit.
Yeah, we've been good.
We've been very lucky. But
knock on wood.
Yeah.
Nobody else have any thoughts on vandalism? Anybody? Any thoughts on that, Jimmy?
We've been fortunate. Of course, we bribe them with full-size candy bars for trick-or-treating. But yeah, we've been fortunate. We had one incident. It wasn't really, I don't think, directed towards us. It was real dry fall. We were just setting up the first weekend. We had a couple bales of straw out, and after dark, kids were going down the street throwing cherry bombs or M80s, and they threw it, and it hit the straw, and it started the straw on fire. But
oh wow!
Fortunately, Dawn was up and grabbed the hose, and was out there immediately. But I hate that question when we get interviewed occasionally on the papers and everything. That's one I really try to avoid answering because I don't want to give anyone a challenge.
Right.
Don't jinx yourself.
Right, or a challenge. Oh, really? Well, I'll go. So we've been fortunate. But it'll happen, but it's not going to stop us. We're not going to live in fear, but I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
Amen.
Question from Bob Ross for anyone who would like to answer it. Have you ever made a prop that didn't turn out the way you were expecting or how you wanted it to, but ended up being a crowd favorite that people really like?
Oh, yeah.
The band?
Yes.
Yeah.
Early on, we made out of a wiper motor on PVC. It was 4 figures. They were a band. They just went back and forth in unison. Poorly constructed. It was the bane of my existence. I was out there every day fixing it. and so it was done. So when the end of Halloween one year, I took the saw, cut it up. It was just to make sure I would never put it up again. So now we have all this stuff that comes out, gives you a hug, massages your back, and all this. And to this day, people come up and go, "Where's the band?"
Damn it.
And it's just a silly wiper motor prop that they just went back and forth. And to this day, people come up and go, all this stuff set up, and they'll go, "Where's the band?"
Wow.
Nice.
Well, what about you, Chip? You mentioned earlier that you start out with something thinking it's going to go one direction and goes another. I mean, you get to a point that you're just like, man, this is just going to be it, and then it turns out to be that everybody loves it.
I made a bunch of these Barth Mache masks, and I was like, man, nobody's gonna like these. They're I thought they were kind of weak looking, but all the actors are like, oh, these are great, man, and they wore them one night. They're like, everybody wanted to wear these masks. I was like, you're kidding me. So I was like, I was really excited about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. And so and the customers were like, oh, that freaking mask is so weird, man. They're just like, it's so crazy looking. So it turned out something I was like gonna throw off in a corner somewhere that we kept making more of them. So yeah.
Nice. That's great. That's great.
I would ask David, but after seeing all his stuff, for some reason I have a feeling that there's not too much that doesn't come out that isn't exactly.
Well, thank you. I think mine is that little tree peeper, the little tree stump.
Oh yeah, we had a picture of that up earlier. Yeah.
That's one of the few motorized props that I actually got to work. So I put it out as often as I can because it works.
Well, guys, we're coming up to the end of the show, but there are questions that earlier in the evening that we didn't get to, so I invite everyone on the panel tonight or tomorrow to go through the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments and see if there's anything that you might want to respond to. But thanks, everyone, for your questions tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I've got the winners of tonight's prize, if you'd all like to hear them.
Woo!
All right.
I think somebody might like to hear them, especially the ones winning.
Certain people might like to hear them. All right, so the winners for tonight. So the first prize is the gallon of Froggy's Fog.
It goes to me, yes.
I know, one night I'm just hoping my name's going to get called. I keep hoping and waiting.
So this is I've never heard of this person before from YouTube. Someone named Hollywood Haunter. Like they need a gallon of fog.
You know, at that point, because I know it's just random through the comments, but considering they started this whole size issue for the whole night, that alone right there deserved to win something. Just carried the whole night.
And now for the Hauntopolis subscription, the winner from Facebook is Christopher Presley. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And now we have the 3 music downloads. First from Facebook, the winner is Gregory Wallace.
All right.
And also from Facebook, Mark Fawcett. Congratulations, Mark.
All right, Mark. How come Mark's not at Halloween Extreme? What's he doing? He's down in Florida. What in the world is he doing watching our show?
And finally, from YouTube, Michael Stradman.
All right. Well, that was great, and hope everybody enjoyed the show. And like we said, all the guests, please go back and look at the YouTube and the Facebook questions and go back and answer, because there's probably a lot of questions we didn't get to. We only have so much time, and Brad does his best that he can do. Don't you, Brad?
With the limited resources available to me,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Meaning
and like
brain power.
Right. And we got the season finale next week, next Thursday, and you guys won't be disappointed. So make sure you come and join us, and we'll put the intro out for that on Monday. And we want to thank all the guests for coming on. Thank you very much. And
thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Should we give him a teaser for the season finale?
No.
One of the 3 one of the 3 hosts dies next episode.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm glad you didn't say one of the 4.
It's the log peeper. Okay, next week, pay attention, stay tuned, and I'm going to get out of here.